Welcome to Oregon's Harvest, a show about the food produced here in Oregon and the people behind it. I'm Jeff Gianola. What a year it's been, and I think it's made us all think deeper about the industries and the people that feed us. Today you're going to hear about farmers stepping up to help fight hunger, making investments to reduce greenhouse gases, and the work that goes into your favorite bottle of wine. In our first story, we're visiting two impressive Oregon dairy farms who are getting national, even global attention for the work they're doing. To get to 3 Mile Canyon Farm, you drive through the gorge, past the Dalles, and through the rolling hills now dotted with giant wind turbines. 3 Mile Canyon Farm is the largest dairy farm in Oregon with about 30,000 cows. But it's also one of the most sustainable in the entire country.
It's just a basic philosophy of not wasting anything. Sustainability is about capturing everything that is given to you.
Marty Myers is the general manager of 3 Mile Canyon Farm and the driving force behind their aggressive approach to sustainability, an approach that led them to win the 2020 U.S. Dairy Sustainability Award for Outstanding Dairy Farm. And the backbone of their effort is something they call the closed loop system.
It starts with the cow.
Here's how it works. The cows at 3 Mile Canyon Farm are hard at work eating and producing milk.
We're trying to utilize everything that is created on this farm, and so the manure is very important to us.
And as you can imagine, 30,000 cows create a lot of manure, and all that manure creates methane, a greenhouse gas. To keep all that gas out of the atmosphere, 3 Mile Canyon invested in a methane digester. The digester makes renewable natural gas, which is then piped to cities for use in things like garbage trucks and city buses.
We're not only taking care of the environment, we're able to take things that years ago where nothing was done, it was just disposed of, and actually it becomes part of our profitability.
Once the gas is removed, there are liquids and solids left over. The solids are sterilized and turned into fluffy bedding for the cows, and the liquids become fertilizer for the crops that feed the cows. And the loop starts over. And speaking of feeding, that's where Erin Dawson comes in. She has a PhD in lactation biology, and her entire job is creating the perfect mix of feed for these animals.
What I'm trying to ensure is that they get the same feed every day.
We believe if we treat them throughout their life cycle at the optimum level, they're going to be much more productive, they're going to be happier, and their life is going to be longer.
Providing world-class care to 30,000 cows takes a lot of work, and the people working here are critical to that goal.
We're a family farm. We just have a lot of families.
While we visited 3 Mile Canyon Farm, we met two families that have been working here for decades.
My dad has been here
10 years.
10 years. Alex has been here 17 years.
Both families say they love working here because of the opportunities for career growth. Many of them began in lower level positions and have worked up into management.
Part of the reason why I love working here is because of the values of the company. I mean, they really live up to them, whether it be animal welfare, environmental sustainability. They really do what they say.
Stephanie Madrigal is the dairy finance manager and one of many employees who have come up through 3 Mile Canyon's robust internship program.
That's the real basis of our middle management and senior management team now. They've come up through that program.
We told you about the exceptional care 3 Mile Canyon Farms takes with their animals, their employees, and the environment. But you may be wondering, 30,000 cows must make a lot of milk. Where's it all going? The answer? It's probably in your fridge right now. You see, 3 Mile Canyon Farm is one of the 80 Oregon farms that supply Tillamook Creamery.
They're a fabulous customer of ours. They're so creative and so dynamic in the marketplace. It's a powerful brand, and it's an Oregon brand.
3 Mile Canyon Farm is top in the nation when it comes to sustainability at a large scale. And now we're taking you south to another Oregon dairy that's turning heads, not just in the U.S., but around the world.
Welcome to the Road Creamery's Dairy.
We're in Grants Pass, Oregon, just bordering the wild and scenic Rogue River.
Like 3 Mile Canyon Farm, Rogue Creamery shares a passion for sustainability.
I admire what they do and at the scale that they can do it.
Rogue Creamery uses similar closed-loop and animal welfare systems, but with only 220 animals, they can push for even more ambitious goals.
This is the third photovoltaic system at Rogue Creamery. We have about a 40% offset, and our goal by 2023 is to be 100%. Sustainability is part of the DNA here at Rogue, and certainly it's part of our mission. People dedicated to sustainability, service, and the art and tradition of creating the world's finest handmade cheese.
And when David says the world's finest cheese, he means that literally. Last year, Rogue Creamery's Rogue River Blue won Best Cheese in the entire world.
It was October 18th, and I was in the pasture feeding the heifers.
Weeks earlier, David and his team had sent a wheel of Rogue River Blue to Bergamo, Italy to compete in the World Cheese Awards.
Before sunrise, so I had my headlamp.
Rogue Creamery has entered the contest every year for the last 2 decades. Their cheese always does well, but they didn't expect what was about to happen.
So we have 2 cheeses on 100 points.
There were 2 cheeses that were tied. The king of cheeses, Parmesan Reggiano, and Rogue River Blue. A friend from the UK was trying to FaceTime me. I was sprinting up to the house to get to Wi-Fi, and as I got to the house, Jason said, "You did it."
I'm going to go for the cow's milk blue cheese wrapped in the...
He held his phone up high and just showed in the auditorium 300 judges just applauding. That day will go down in history, in American history, that cheese has been recognized at that level.
So of course, we had to ask, what makes it so good?
Certainly starts with milk. We add the cultures, which is the flavor, and then we add the Penicillier Roqueforti, which is the blue mold that you get in the cheese. Our Penicillier Roqueforti is a strain that came over from France in 1954, and we continue to use that strain today.
Their unique strain of bacteria and superior milk are key, but they have another secret, their caves.
Those caves have in them a regional bacteria and fungus and mold that also influence the flavor.
Rogue uses traditional cheese-making techniques, but they have some high-tech tools to help.
So one of the main things that attracted me to Rogue Creamery was the robot room.
That's right. They have 2 cow milking robots. It's fully automated, so for the most part, Zach Rose and his team are hands-off when it comes to milking.
And what this does is allows the cow to establish a routine, or like I like to say, a rut, because cows want to stay in a rut. They don't want change.
The cows queue up. Each has an RFID tag that tells the robot about each cow.
It reads that tag and it says, this cow has permission to milk. We're going to allow her to come in.
From there, the robot sprays her teats with iodine, cleans them, then uses 2 lasers to attach the milking cups. The robot allows Zach to focus all his attention on caring for the animals rather than just their milk. These cows are his babies, and he treats them that way.
Daddy, and then you have Melinda, Teresa.
And if you're interested in tasting their award-winning cheese, the Rogue River Blue, the 2020 batch is out now and available in their Central Point Cheese Shop or on their website.
If you're not a blue cheese lover, I hope that you'll give us a try. We've converted many to being a blue cheese lover, but I'd also recommend trying one of our great cheddars.
Congratulations to both 3 Mile Canyon Farms and Rogue Creamery for their awards. Later on Oregon's Harvest, we're taking you to a Malbec harvest to see just how much work goes into a bottle of Oregon wine, plus how Oregon potato farmers are pitching in to help fight hunger in our state. Welcome back to Oregon's Harvest, a show about the food produced here in Oregon and the people behind it. Unfortunately, here in Oregon, hunger has been a problem for many years, and it's getting worse. But today we have a story about some potato farmers who are trying to help.
I'm really proud of the grower community. I think any grower I know of in the region, anytime they get a call, they're willing to step up and help out where they can.
I believe that farmers have always been people that just give back.
These farmers meeting up for the day in Hermiston have one thing in common. They all grow lots of potatoes.
So I'm Bill Stahl. This farm over here is about 9,000 acres.
My name is Troy Betts. We have a family farm here in the Hermiston area. Main crops here are potatoes, onions, alfalfa hay, corn, and grass seed.
My name is Kim Wagstaff, and I am from WBH Farms. We farm potatoes, onions, sugar beets.
Greg Harris, I manage the farm operations on Three Mile Canyon Farms. Our primary crops are potatoes and feed crops for our dairies.
All of them, on a regular basis, donate to their communities and local food banks. But this year is a little different. Here's Dan from the Oregon Food Bank.
So the need at Oregon Food Bank has grown a lot right now with the COVID-19 pandemic. Last year we served 860,000 people, and now we're well over 1 million people. We are seeing some of our marginalized groups that are really getting hit hard. Our single moms, our BIPOC community, our trans communities, and our immigrants.
Oregon Food Bank is working very hard to get food to the people that need it. And potatoes especially are an important food for them.
Oregon Food Bank loves potatoes because they're really culturally diverse across the people we serve. And they're hearty, long-lasting, and they don't need refrigeration.
So you can eat them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
You get their potassium and their vitamin C and everything. You can live off a potato.
There's as much potassium in a potato as there is in a banana. They're a good source of vitamin C, B6.
You keep them in a cool, dark place, and they'll last for weeks, and they taste good, so people enjoy them.
Most of these farmers have made a commitment to grow extra acres of potatoes specifically for donation, thanks to a program called Farmers Ending Hunger.
Even with the COVID, we are producing about and providing over 4 million pounds of product, over dozens of crops to Oregon Food Bank. Hunger should not be in our vocabulary in our great state with all of this land and the farmers that are willing to give.
Farmers Ending Hunger helps source a wide variety of fresh produce from around the state for the food bank. Plus, it helps turn donations like wheat and beef cows into more convenient foods like pancake mix and hamburger patties.
So roughly, 40,000 hamburgers worth of beef a month.
Kim has a different situation. Her farm is in Nissa. It's too far away for monthly donations, so they came up with another way to give.
And so what we do to give back to the community is we have a potato day. People come and they can fill up their pickups, they can pick off of the conveyor belt, but we normally give away about 120,000 pounds of potatoes.
Plain and simple, potatoes are an important food for feeding hungry families, and when the need increases, as it has this year, potato farmers are happy to step up and help.
Whatever they want to, they call, they get it.
It's the right thing to do. It's what we do to help our fellow Oregonians.
It is important to give back. It makes you feel good. It's a good way of living is to give back.
Important to be able to help people, help one another, especially when we're going through a crisis, but year-round. And we're happy to be able to be in a position to be able to help people.
The Oregon Food Bank says the best way you can help fight hunger is to go to their website. There you'll find opportunities on how to donate or volunteer. Still to come on Oregon's Harvest, do you know how to pick the perfect pear? A Hood River pear farmer shares the secret, but first we take you to a scenic Oregon winery on the most exciting day of the year, grape harvest. Next, we're headed to a winery. Oregon wines are beloved by people across the United States, but you may be surprised by how much work goes into each and every bottle.
In the wine business, the harvest is the most exciting time of the year. While you're in the tasting room and you see the glamorous side of the wine industry, of people sharing wine and time together, there's a lot of work that happens to create those moments. We are farmers first.
Creamery Cellars is perched on a hill in the scenic Rogue Valley of Southern Oregon, and they invited us to join them for their Malbec harvest. Matt Cates is the vineyard manager here. He works year-round to make sure the grapes are perfect for Creamery's wines.
We start pruning the vineyard in February, and then from there on, it doesn't really stop. Everything in wine is all about balance. And so I want a balanced grapevine with not too many leaves, and to cluster ratio, so all that is really important. What a lot of people don't understand is just how many people it takes to make one bottle of wine.
Matt has been tending the grapes all year, but today is the day the winemaking begins. Here is Creamery Cellars owner and winemaker Scott Steingraber.
I grew from basements to garages to, now we have a full-fledged winery that, is producing 4,000 to 5,000 cases a year.
Scott says the best time to pick grapes is early in the day, before they've had a chance to warm up in the sun.
We start picking about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. We pull the fruit off the vines. It goes into buckets. The buckets are run down the rows and then deposited into what we call a macro bin. It holds about 1,000 pounds. The grapes then are moved from the vineyard down to the winery. We take them all back, we weigh it from the scales, then we move it over to a destemmer. We'll come through and pull out stems and things like that, clean the fruit up. From there, we'll then take the bins and drop the berries right into an open-top fermenter.
After that, it's all up to the winemaker. Scott says they'll keep the skins on the grapes for about a week to give the wine its rich red color. Then they'll add yeast to let it ferment. Then it's put in barrels and aged for about 2 to 3 years before bottling.
We're a very warm site, so we concentrate our efforts on Malbec and Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot, those varieties that really take in that heat. You can go 5 to 10 miles away from here, and the different microclimates that we have in the Rogue Valley will allow other wineries and other vineyards to grow different fruit than we do. So you could go 10 miles away and find Pinot Noir being grown, Chardonnay. That is the beauty of the Rogue Valley.
Thanks to the varied climate, the wine industry is thriving in the Rogue Valley. They grow more than 70 varietals of grapes, offer tourists 4 marked wine trails. Plus, they're an AVA.
The acronym means America Viticultural Area. And those are petitioned for and created by a governing body. And it is interesting that we are in 2 nested AVAs, the larger being Southern Oregon, and the smaller being the Rogue Valley AVA.
Between the world-class wine, Rogue River rafting, the Shakespeare Festival, and the short drive to Crater Lake, you have lots of reasons to visit the Rogue Valley.
I think an important thing to know about Creamery Cellars is that this business is powered by passion. Every one of us have done other things in our lives and have come to this because it is called to us.
Creamery Winery is located just outside of Medford, and their tasting room is open. Just make a reservation before you visit. Coming up next, you'll meet the next generation of Oregon growers. She's a farmer, business owner, land advocate, and snowboarder. Welcome back to Oregon's Harvest. For our final story, we want to introduce you to a next-generation Oregon farmer. She's young ambitious, and growing one of Oregon's biggest crops, pears.
I think farming gets in your blood. Being outside and having all the seasonal activities that are involved with farming, I think it becomes addicting. I'm Lisa Perry, and today we are at Out on a Limb Farm, located in Hood River, Oregon. Out on a Limb Farm is a 14-acre farm. We grow Bartlett's, camise, bosque, and green anjos. I did have a chance to go pursue other options, and I really found that farming tied everything together that I wanted to do, helping keep the land as farmland, so advocating for farmers, educational components, nutrition, and I think growing food for people seemed really important to me. Farming in Hood River, you're working with the seasons. Once springtime hits, you are out the gate with very full days and busy nights. So when the blossoms begin to open up on the trees, that's when it requires frost protection to make sure that the pears are not cosmetically damaged by frost. During the summer, we get into pruning and planting and irrigation, and then all of a sudden it's harvest time. And that requires a lot of hands-on long days as well. And wintertime is pruning time, and the cycle starts all over again. So we're lucky to have a few days off here and there, and my husband and I love to snowboard. We actually have a really great deal. We trade fruit for some passes. A pear orchard is such a beautiful sight. Overall, I think they're a beautiful fruit. They're super elegant in a fruit bowl. I think that they're a little underrated in the sense of how special they can be. So here we've got a Concord pear. Concords are wonderful because they have this vanilla flavor to them, and you can eat them on the firmer side. This is a green anjo, and this is what we grow the most of here in Hood River. So in the grocery store, what I highly recommend is that you take them home on the firm side. Gently keep pushing the neck, and when it gives to pressure, that's when you want to eat it. So the camise pear, this is really popular during the holidays. It's known for its smooth, velvety texture and intense sweetness. Wonderful on like cracker and cheese boards. I think a pear that's really growing in popularity right now is the bosque pear. Their firm texture holds up well in high oven heat. So for the holidays, I love baking with the bosque pears. Then here is the Bartlett pear. This is the most well-known pear variety that there is. And Bartletts only require a few days at room temperature to ripen, so very easy to take from the grocery store in this condition, let it sit out, be pretty in your fruit bowl until it starts to have this yellow color. These beautiful pears is called a Stark Crimson pear. The Stark Crimson makes a beautiful splash of color in salads. You can start to find all of these varieties available in any grocery store starting now, and pears are available through July. So you can be supporting local pear growers from now until July, which is wonderful. My family started farming in the Hood River Valley in the early 1900s. So if I am successful, I'd be a fifth generation farmer. The average age of farmers is in the upper 60s, and we're finding that not very many young people are looking towards farming as a profession. So if my husband and I can help fill the gaps to keep family farms operating in Hood River Valley, we will be up for that challenge. I love farming because you're responsible for the land, the trees, and the fruit. And when you see the crop come off the trees, it's the most rewarding feeling. And when I see somebody enjoy a ripe pear, it makes all that hard work worth it.
There's nothing like a perfectly ripe pear. Well, that's it for Oregon's Harvest. I'm Jeff Gianola. We'll see you next time.